Now, the Black Farmers Association staged a protest march outside the SAHPRA offices yesterday to demand approval for cannabis farming. The association claims that the regulator has handed over the local cannabis industry to who it calls white monopoly colonialists. The organization says black people, including indigenous monarchs and traditional healers, were being excluded. I'm joined now by Dr. Lennox Mjahi, the president of the Black Farmers Association, as well as Dr. Boitumelo Semete Makokotlela, the SAHPRA CEO. Doctors, a very good afternoon to you, and thank you very much for your time. Let's start with you, Dr. Lennox. What is, I guess, the core of your complaint, and what has been your experience with SAHPRA upon the application for licenses?
Can I come in?
Yes, please do, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon to all participants and the viewers. What is currently happening between the Black Farmers Association and other stakeholders that are under our umbrella is that we have uncovered a lot of corruption that is happening under the umbrella of SAHPRA. And what is happening is that SAHPRA does not apply the BEE Act as prescribed by the preamble of our Constitution. They are giving the licenses to white companies using an Apartheid Act of 1965 that prevented black people to participate in the pharmaceutical industry. On top of that, we also uncovered that SAHPRA gave a license, awarded a license to a company called Linesiko, owned by the chairperson of SAHPRA's husband, Faisal Randera. That company is in partnership with Aspen in Kucha to store and manufacture the J&J vaccines. So not only that, what we want as the Black Farmers Association and the other stakeholders is that we want SAHPRA to revoke all licenses that they've given to white companies without following the correct procedure of the black economic empowerment. I will stop there.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lennox. Dr. Boitumelo, thank you as well for joining us today. You hear the allegations against you by the Black Farmers Associations. I will give you an opportunity to respond, and perhaps let's break them down. First and foremost, how many licenses for cannabis farming have been issued thus far, and how many of those have actually gone to black-owned companies or black-run companies?
Sure, thank you, and thanks for giving us the opportunity to respond to this. Maybe let me first reflect on the BEE, and this is a matter that we've been in discussions with the BEE Commission on. We've received a legal opinion, and as we sit, the Medicines Act is silent on this. We've been engaging with the Minister of Health, who will be talking, also with the Minister of Trade and Industry, Trade, Industry and Cooperation on this. So this is a matter that is actually not new to SAHPRA. There has been others in the industry that have asked SAHPRA to look at this, and it's an ongoing process.
Before I let you go, just to get some clarification, you say that the Medicals Act is silent on the issues of BEE. Does that mean that as it stands right now, anything that's got to do with pharmaceuticals, licensing, anything with any sort of medical implication to it, does not necessarily have to comply to the BEE rules according to the Medicals Act? Is that what you're saying?
So the Medicines Act, as it sits at the moment, requires that SAHPRA looks at quality, safety, and efficacy. And we know that when it comes to products, that's what we need to be looking at. In our engagements with the BEE Commission, we spoke about the second aspect of what we do, which is where we issue licenses, etc. And that's where they've provided us with an advice, which we've shared with the Minister of Health, and we will then also be engaging with the Minister of Trade and Industry and Competition as this sits within that department. So as we speak, if we do anything that pertains to our BEE, we will be going against the Medicines Act, because it is silent on that. And that's why we had to get legal opinion. That's why there's a process to follow. So we're not saying it's a matter we're not addressing. We're fully aware of what the matter is, where the gaps are, what gaps need to be addressed, and how we need to address those gaps. So it's an ongoing process.
I'd like to hop on that for a moment. You say quality, safety, and efficacy are the chief concerns and the focus of what the Medicals Act looks into. But being a black-owned or black-run company doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have those pillars of quality, safety, and efficacy. Those two are not mutually exclusive.
Fully, and we fully agree on that. And hence, even with the licenses that we've issued, we have issued to black companies in areas that pertain to medicines and medical devices. We've done the same. You may have seen recently in medical devices, there's a company called Cape Bio that we've given a license for medical devices. So for us as SAHPRA, we look at those matters, irrespective at the moment of what the BE composition of the company is. And as we've said, there are many companies, and this is public on our website, that are black-owned companies that have been licensed. We've got a number of black-owned companies in the pharmaceutical sector that have been licensed by SAHPRA. Their medicines have been registered. So this is something that has been ongoing in terms of how we conduct our business.
Let me give you then an opportunity to comment on the other aspects there, which are the allegations of corruption.
Yeah, and until we get evidence around these allegations, it's a matter that we're not going to entertain. So this must be formally submitted to us. The matter is being raised around the husband of the board chair. Lisiko Investment issued a statement on this, as this was a matter raised around vaccines. So I'm not sure how it comes in with cannabis. We have checked our records. None of the companies that have been licensed to manufacture cannabis of the one that Dr. Mchaki makes reference to, the husband of the board chair, is not involved in the cannabis business at all. And so, again, they must provide us with the evidence and we will investigate. We've got a whistleblowing facility as SAHPRA. They can contact the numbers for the whistleblower. We will then investigate for the whistleblowing facility. We will investigate it because any act of corruption, we do not have any tolerance for corruption. So I will be the first to investigate. They need to provide us then with the details around these allegations.
Dr. Lennox, here's your opportunity then. Do you have any sort of evidence? And what is the link between the vaccines and cannabis, which is what is being discussed now?
No, let me, point of correction. I never said he's got a license for cannabis. He got a license through SAHPRA to store and manufacture the vaccines. And that is nepotism because their wife is the head of SAHPRA. How does that happen?
What does that then have to do, though, with the fight for the cannabis license? What is the train of thought there and the link from your view?
No, let me explain also there. The reason we are highlighting this, you cannot be a head of a department and you give a license to your husband to manufacture and store. That is nepotism, irrespective of it is a different company whatsoever. And also another corruption that we are busy with is that SAHPRA's board is Professor Helen Rees is been in the board of the medicine since 1995. What kind of a chairperson that does not have a term? That because now she's acting like she's owning the SAHPRA. Also, the CEO herself, we want her out because the CEO said in court papers when she tried to interdict our march not to take place, she said she does not take black people serious. No, now, if you don't take black people serious, what good can come out of your office for the black people? It's not only this fight of cannabis that is given to the white people by the CEO, because the chairperson brought the CEO to our meeting and he put her under the bus by saying, I'm not issuing licenses. The CEO is the one that is issuing these licenses. Another information that we are sitting with, in one of the minutes that we had, I asked personal, the board of SAHPRA, Mandi Sahela, Professor Helen Rees, Buitumelo, I've asked them on whose instructions that you are acting on to give these white companies the licenses. I've got it in black and white. The answer was, we are acting under the Minister, Dr. Zweli Mkhize's instructions. I've got that. It's not a lie.
Dr. Buitumelo. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Hence, yesterday, we wanted the NPA to be there. They did not inform the NPA, and I mean the SIU. They did not inform them that we want them to be there. Either the minister was not informed, because the gentleman that they brought in to come and take the memorandum was that he mentioned to us he's not coming from the office of the minister. And also, while we were busy with him, Professor Helen Rees was phoning him, you know. So then we said, we are not going to leak our evidence to someone that is not authorized by the minister to come and take the documents, because we want the minister to act.
So let me ask you then, Dr. Buitumelo, to respond to all those allegations against yourself.
Under the act of the must be withdrawn with meeting.
Okay, Dr. Lennox, let's give Dr. Buitumelo an opportunity now. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you. Let me speak to the issue of the husband of the board chairperson. As I've said, the investment company, during the time that this was raised around vaccines, did issue a statement on that matter. And I'd like to encourage Dr. Lennox Mtshaki to just check the facts there, as the statement is publicly available.
If you could, for the benefit of our viewers, give us a summary of what their explanation was.
So the explanation was that Mr. Faisal used to have shares in a specific company that had shares in Aspen. These many years ago, he sold these shares, and as it stands, he doesn't have any shares within Aspen. For us as SAHPRA, we also gave the license, and Aspen has had a license for many years. I mean, this is one of our pharmaceutical companies, and so these allegations again are unfounded. In terms of the board term, SAHPRA's first board was appointed in 2017. So again, the allegation of 1997, I do not understand where that comes from. That board, their term ended now in September. As of October, we have a new board that has been appointed. This new board composes of old board members, or some of the previous board members, and some of the newly appointed one. So those who are now from the previous board, they're now in their second term, wherein they've been reappointed. So SAHPRA's board only started in 2017. SAHPRA did not exist prior to that. It was the Medicines Control Council, and the council never had a board. The second part around the minister at the march, I personally spoke to the minister yesterday. He asked Advocate Mwabelo to come and represent him. And he indicated, Mr. Advocate Mwabelo indicated the same at the march yesterday, that he has been sent by the minister.
Are you talking about former minister? Are you talking about former minister Zweli Mkhize? Which minister are you referring to now?
No, the current minister, because in their march they indicated that they want to deliver the memo to the current Minister of Health, Minister Patla, and he was unavailable, and asked Advocate Mwabelo from the Department of Health to come and collect the memo on his behalf. And BFASA would not deliver this memorandum. So again, if the minister is not available, there's very little that I can do. I think he had the courtesy of sending someone from the department to come and collect this memorandum.
So perhaps let's chart a way forward now, because one of the requirements for the Black Farmers Association is not only that black pharmaceuticals be allowed to be part of this process and be issued with licensing, but what about issues of traditional healers and the indigenous traditional peoples of the land also being granted licenses? Is this a consideration that you as SAHPRA are actually working on now quite specifically in order to make sure that there is representation and that not a whole class of South Africans are left out of this process?
Yeah, and a point I'd like to clarify, and I'd like to use this opportunity to do so, is that SAHPRA is only responsible for regulatory oversight for CBD or THC if it's used for medicinal purposes. If it's used for any other purpose outside of that, SAHPRA is not the entity to come to. There's the Department of Agriculture, there's the Department of Justice that are involved in that. So we are only concerned wherein there are medical claims that are being made. We will ask the applicant to demonstrate what they want to utilize the product. We would look at their manufacturing facility, and they have to comply with good manufacturing practices, because the safety of the public when they consume these products for medical purposes is paramount. And hence, we only issue licenses to those companies that are compliant.
So let me ask you, Dr. Lennox, what are the efforts to be compliant? Dr. Witumelo talks about issues of factories and manufacturing, and what comes to mind for me are barriers to entry. That, you know, if you're looking at traditional societies, for example, do they have manufacturing facilities? Is there a well of scientific knowledge and information that can prove the efficacy of their product?
You are so true with that. That is what we are also finding very difficult. SAHPRA wants you to put up a structure without any guarantees that you will get the license. And that structure, how are people that were previously disadvantaged can access money to put up those structure? We're talking a minimum of 5 million to put up a structure, you know? So hence we said to SAHPRA, we as the black farmers, we are representing traditional healers, Rastafarians, all of them. Rural people, we are also representing them. We said to SAHPRA, SAHPRA, you need to give us a pre-license that is bankable. And Dr. Witumelo was in all these meetings. When Professor Helen Rees agreed to that they will issue those licenses. They even went as far as inspecting our sites, and we are still awaiting for them to finalize those licenses.
I'm going to ask you, Dr. Lennox, if you could hold on for me, as well as Dr. Witumelo. We'll be right back in just a moment to conclude our conversation. Do stay with us. This is your Daytime Update.